exhilarating masterclass tailored for all the filmmakers in the audience aspiring to step into new industry spaces, especially for those chasing the Hollywood dream. This masterclass, titled How to Succeed in New Hollywood, will help you discover the essential skills and mindset you need to turn your ambitions into reality and make an impact on the global stage. It's time now to welcome on stage, all the way from Australia, the master craftsman who has helmed titles such as Salt, Rabbit Proof Fence, Dead Calm, Patriot Games, amongst others. The recipient of this year's Satyajit Ray Lifetime Achievement Award, Mr. Philip Noyce.
Good afternoon. Can everyone hear me? Wait till I get down to your level. Okay, so you're not going to necessarily hear how to get into Hollywood, but you'll hear how I got into Hollywood. But first of all, I'd just like to say that today I'm wearing blue because it's a very blue day for Australia, given what's happened in Perth in the cricket. And I'm wearing black shoes, you know, because our team died at the hands of your team. So congratulations. I'd like to just thank the NFDC and Screen Australia for bringing me here and organising this event. And let's pay tribute to Shekhar Kapoor, the great master director of Bandit Queen and Elizabeth, of course, who's here with us today. At the moment, in America, the film industry is in crisis due to many reasons. First of all, during COVID, the streamers responded to the audience's need to watch movies at home, and they increased their production. And after the end of the COVID pandemic, they ramped it right down. But secondly, because the independent films in America are financed by pre-sales. So for a certain actor, you can sell to Italy, Germany, France, UK for a certain price. Well, the prices that those actors that we used to be able to finance films on have dropped. The earnings, the money that they're willing to pay for their involvement in a movie has dropped. can you hear me? Is it still working? Sorry. Has dropped right down. So just after COVID, it seemed as though we were back in business, but then there was a strike in America for almost a year. And during that time, the streamers and everybody reassessed their future. And from the strike, the film industry has never recovered. I'll give you an example. I've shot 3 times in New Orleans, including the last film, Fast Charlie. The last time I shot there were 28 productions there. And last week when I checked, there were only 2. So 15,000 film workers in that one city are out of work. So that's why I chose How to Survive, or what is the title of my lecture? How to what? How to Succeed. Well, it should have been How to Survive. And you know, the Christian guru, Jesus, reportedly turned, 5 loaves of bread and 2 fishes, and he was able to feed thousands, according to the Bible. And that's what we need to do as filmmakers. That is, we need to turn 5 loaves of bread and 2 fishes into enough to please hundreds of thousands. So I'm going to take you through what is now a 54-year career of mine, and give you some of the hints that I've learnt, some of the tricks that I've learnt of how you can do a fishes and loaves, how we can all be Jesus. That story starts for me, you can put on the first slides, it starts for me back in Australia, there I am on the left with my 2 brothers. We went to the movies every Saturday. That's my dad. He was a lawyer. We lived on a farm. We went to the movies every Saturday, but not to see Australian films. It was impossible. There were no Australian films. There was no Australian cinema. The Americans made the movies and the Brits made the movies, and they owned the cinemas. And we suffered from a terrible disease which caused us to doubt our abilities really to make movies. I each year would live to go to the circus. And the circus that came to our town came on a train. We were the last stop. And they'd pitch the tent, and I would just go down there, watch all the workers, go to the circus, and then afterwards I'd go and look in the train. And I worked out that the first carriage, which was not coincidentally the best carriage, with silver service and double bed and everything, belonged to a guy called the ringmaster. And the ringmaster, I worked out, was the person that kept the show alive. When the clowns needed to be brought on, he would signal. When he wanted the drum roll, when the trapeze artists were not doing a good job, he'd talk us through, making us more excited and filling the tension. He'd bring on the orchestra and so on. And for years I dreamed that maybe I could be the ringmaster and I could do that job. I never thought I would ever be able to do that. The closest I came to it actually was, every year there were sideshows would come to my town, and they would ask for volunteers to come up, stooges, and if you came up and offered yourself as part of the show that took place outside the tent, then you would get in for free, which I thought was a good deal. So I remember a lady, the show was called The Roaring Twenties, and a lady said, "Stick out your tongue." And she took a piece of paper, she put it on the end of my tongue. She was about 5'2", and she had a sword that was 4 feet 8 in length. And I'm sticking the tongue out with the piece of paper sticking out, and she brings the sword up and cuts the paper just an inch from my tongue. And I will never forget the sound of the audience going, "Ah!" 100 people, responding. And between those two events, the circus and wanting to get on that train, and wanting to hear the sound of the audience again, I suppose I put that dream away. But then, I'm 18 years old, I'm walking in the city, and I see this poster behind me, Underground 68. Well, in 1968, the word underground meant everything to an 18-year-old. It meant something risque, it meant something exciting, it meant something maybe semi-legal. So it was a screening of 17 short films the next Sunday at this cinema in Sydney. They were called Underground Movies. And I went there and I realized that most of the films had been made for under $100, some of them for $2, some for $10. So I hung, and they were completely different to any of the movies that I'd been seeing in the cinema. This was personal expression. This was cinema by artists, by poets, often non-linear. That impressed me, but the thing that really caught my attention was that half of the movies had been made by Australians. So I heard the Australian accent for the first time in a cinema. I saw people that looked and acted like me. So afterwards, I hung around in the foyer, and there were 3 guys, and they all had beards, and they'd been the entrepreneurs who'd put on the show. They called themselves Ubu Films. And anyway, I got talking to them. They said, "We're film directors." I said, "Film directors? I've never heard of a film director in Australia. What is that?" Anyway, film director. And their motto was that anyone can make a movie. And of course, at that time, anyone could, the same as they can now in a way, although it was a little harder then. You needed film stock. It had to be processed, and you had to buy the stock and beg, borrow, or steal to get it processed in a laboratory. But I went home, and I haven't shaved ever since. And I called myself a film director. And I went to work digging sewage ditches for 6 weeks, earned enough money, and then I thought, how am I going to get a cast? So I made a film about the sex fantasies of a teenager, and I asked my friends to buy parts. So the guy that gave $400 was the son of a doctor, and he got the lead role. Well, that was my first lesson, which is that it's much better that you choose the actors than the actors choose you, because he was a lousy actor. But nevertheless, I was off. And about 6 years ago, my 16-year-old son was asked, "What does your father do for a living?" And his reply was, "He yells action and cut." And he was right. That's what I've done since that day of making that first film. No other job, only action and cut since the age of 18. So I've been blessed with opportunity. And we were blessed as Australians because we had a Prime Minister who was convinced by a couple of cronies that he should kickstart a film industry. The idea seemed crazy. We hadn't had a film industry since the late 30s. But the government decided that they'd start a program of supporting cinema. And within a couple of years, we were all on that gravy train, which still exists now. The Australian government, the Australian film industry there is no economic rationale for that industry. In as much as, yes, the Americans and the British could supply all of our cinemas, but it's a cultural imperative that we express ourselves, in the cinema. And that first group we call the New Wave. We were all baby boomers. Our parents had brought us up to have opportunity that they were denied by the Depression and the Second World War. And suddenly we were making movies which were making money. And they were making money because our audience had been starved of their image on the silver screen. When a baby looks in the mirror and sees themselves and works out that that's me. And well, that's the Australian audience that I inherited. So the first feature film that I made, we made our money back within 6 weeks. And suddenly we were all making movies and the whole country was celebrating the fact that our movies were being sold all around the world. But back to what I started with, which is how to be Jesus. So I'm going to take you back to the first real feature that I made in 1978, and I'm going to show you how we made a scene with thousands of people out of 28 extras. The film is called Newsfront. It's about the newsreel cameramen that would film the news that was shown in cinemas across Australia. So there was a weekly newsreel, you had it here as well, and in Britain and America. But let's have a look at the opening of that film. I must warn you that some of the clips that I sent were low resolution, so ignore some of the technical imperfections. But you'll see if you can guess how we did this from watching this scene.
That's it, lady. On. Thanks, Diggy, you'll learn it. Damn it. Mister. Forget it, son. We're very thankful to the Australian government for offering the assistance and making it possible for us to get here. I plan on becoming an Australian citizen as soon as possible. I have great faith in the country. I know it's going to go ahead by leaps and bounds, and I'm very glad to be able to take just a small part.
Okay. it seems as though it's slightly out of sync. The image and the sound are slightly lagging. I don't know what happened. We checked it yesterday, but nevertheless. What we did was something that Zelly, the movie, would do later, which is that we took the footage. Is the microphone? Is it working? Yeah. Okay. Seems to go in and out. Am I wrong, or am I imagining it? We took the footage that the newsreel cameramen had shot and put the actors into that scene. So we were able to make a film that was way much larger than the resources that we had. We'll now look at another sequence, which is the second lesson that I'd like you to think about. And the reason I'm asking you to think about how you can make films more cheaply is how you can survive in the new Hollywood. Because what's happened is that the traditional, as I said, the traditional pre-sales market has collapsed. So if you've got pre-sales that are there and a budget that are there, you can't make your movie. Now, if you can't move the pre-sales up because theatrical distribution has collapsed, then the only thing you can do, and should be doing anyway, to survive, is to move the cost down. So you've got to make films more cheaply. And by the end of this, I'm going to tell you how you can make them for almost nothing, which I'll be doing pretty soon as well. But let's have a look at this next sequence, which introduces me, as I said, to the second lesson that I'd like you to think about, which is your responsibility or your need for mentors. I'm mentoring 3 people at the moment, and I do it not to help those people, but to help me, because they're much younger, they've got different minds, and like every time that I deal with my 13-year-old daughter and her TikTok obsession, I learn something from them. This is a sequence that involves a flood. Floods that used to happen regularly in Australia. And I had no idea how I was going to create a flood of biblical proportions. So I went to a guy called Ken G. Hall. And during the 30s, Ken G. Hall had made 17 films, including up to 4 feature films in 1 year. And of the 17 that he made in the 30s, only 1 was not a huge financial success. Now he was retired, and I sought him out, and I sat down at his feet and asked him questions. And the first question was, because I know he'd done a film about bushfires, which is another regular occurrence in Australia every summer, followed by floods. And he just mapped it out for me, because he said, okay, you can't move water like a raging flood across with no money across a large area. So place the camera up and always look down and only film what you can cover, how you can move the water. And he even told me how to do it. He said, get a jet boat, run it in reverse, and that will push the water forwards. He also said, when you build a set, pretend that most of the set is underwater and only build from a certain height up. Anyway, have a look at this sequence and you'll see how, again, I was Jesus for a moment. Yeah. So in that film, we used obviously, a lot of newsreel footage shot by the original cameraman, and we incorporated it into the movie. Another way of multiplying the resources that you have is with an overused instrument that, if it's used properly, can make an extraordinary difference to the film that you're making, and that's the drone. Now, I've used a drone on the last 3 pictures. Instead of spending tens of thousands of dollars on some apparatus to take the camera into the air. But what I usually do is I go to Best Buy, which is an electronics company in America, and I buy their latest drone, and then I film with it, and then at the end of the movie, I take it back and get my money back. So each movie, I get a new drone with an updated technology and more possibilities. I'm just going to show you a little clip from the last film that I made in New Orleans with Pierce Brosnan. And throughout this movie, we have 80 drone shots. And it's the difference between the movie being tiny and feeling big. So we'll just have a quick look at Fast Charlie and the drones. You'll see 2 drone shots.
Beggar Mikado. Streets up, turn 9th Ward crew chief. One of the new breed of bosses cutting a swath through New Orleans.
Let's see.
Yeah. Sorry? Super drone shots. Yes, the drone is a wonderful weapon. Yeah, but don't buy it. Take it back and get a new one every film. So we're going to come back to fishes and loaves, but if you want to survive in this industry, you're going to have to do a fishes and loaves with people. By that I mean that you are, as a director, and I'm speaking only as a director, and there's probably actors here who want me to speak about acting, but I can't do that. I can only speak about the tricks that we directors have developed. And what I've discovered is that if you can find the right crew and you can inspire them in the right ways, then you're going to exponentially increase the creativity, the total creativity that's at your disposal. But that's all based on trust. If people don't trust you, then you'll get nowhere. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you a little exercise that I do on every movie. Imagine Harrison Ford being blinded and then being led around by the gaffer or the sound recordist, or me being blinded and being led around by a 12-year-old child. So I need 10 people to come up here. Have we got the blindfolds? Yeah. Here we got 2 over here. My daughter, Ayanda, give her a clap. She came here to Goa when she was 10 months old, 13 years ago, and now she's 13 and she's returning. And Yania? Anyone else? Come on, I need some more volunteers. Yes, how about some more Aussies? We need some Aussies to get together with some Indians. Come on. I know there's some Aussies here. Johnny Seal, come on, you can do it. Johnny Seal, yes. Okay, so, yes, great. Okay, where are the blindfolds? Yeah, you only need 5. No, you only need 5. Okay, so I want you to choose a partner, but I want you to choose the partner that you instinctually don't like. Okay? So, you two love each other, but we'll put you together anyway. There's your blindfold. Who are you partnered with? Okay, who else? Who's blind and who's sighted? Okay, have you got a partner? Okay, sorry, Johnny, you missed the, yeah, okay.
Our partner is you.
Huh?
My partner is you.
Your partner's me? No, I've got to be, I'm the ringmaster. Johnny, come on, here we go. Oh. Okay, be careful with John. He's a living national treasure. So, but John, you can be sighted and she'll be blind.
I can what?
You can be sighted.
Yes.
Yes, and she'll be blind. Okay, so this is what I want you to do. The ones who are not chosen, you'll have to go and sit down because you'll get in the way of these ones. Okay, so you've got to put on the blindfold, yeah? But you're not allowed to cheat. No, come on. Who's your partner?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Yeah, you need to go. Who's his partner? Yes. Okay, you guys missed out. I'm sorry. We haven't got enough blindfolds. Okay, so... Yeah, so this is what I want you to do. And this is what I do before every movie with big stars, little stars, and the major crew, the camera operator, the sound recorders, the production designer, and the actors, the big actors, the little actors, the stars and the non-stars. We all get together and we have fun. But this one is about trust. So what I want you to do is, half of you go that way, up the back and come back, and you've got to take the blind person and you've got to guide them with safety. But you've got to make their journey fascinating, because that's what we have to do with our crew and that's what we have to do with our audience. So for example, she's going, and you must protect them, but you're going to give them an experience which they've never had. You're going to allow them, we don't want any harassment though. So you're going to go, half of you are going to go that way, and the others are going to go that way, but no cheating. Don't look. But you've got to guide them. I don't think that's going to keep us safe. Yeah? Who's this lady? Who's looking after this lady? Johnny. No. I got to be the ringmaster.
Oh, you're the ringmaster.
Yeah. Oh, if you don't want to do it, this gentleman does. Okay. Okay. So make the journey fascinating. Make it exhilarating. Allow them to experience things that they never thought they would. So really, I had Denzel Washington and Angelina Jolie doing this. And really, you'll see a film, you saw parts of it before, called Rabbit Proof Fence, which starred 3 Indigenous children. Well, they went through this process with all of the crew as well, but they were in charge of the adults. Keep them safe. Now, what we usually do is, we usually do this exercise, I must admit, in an open space. And it usually develops into everyone running as fast as they can in an open space where it's safe, they can do that, zigzagging in and out of each other, which is also what we need to do on a film crew, which is to be able to coexist together in such close quarters with complete and utter trust. This exercise not only instills discovery, shared discovery, but it's an accelerator into trust. And it's also an accelerator into discovery, because once you're blinded, of course, the world opens up to you in a completely different way. Oh, no, you're not to talk. Don't talk to them. No talking. No talking. I'm sorry, I didn't state the rules clearly enough. Have you? So, how was it? How was it, dear?
Oh, wow. I feel so safe or good because his touch and how he's moving me around the auditorium, I feel very safe.
You did feel safe.
I did feel safe.
And how was the experience of being blind?
I would say it's horrible because we have to I have to trust him, because if I will not trust him, I will fall. So,
Yeah.
it's good maybe.
Yeah,
Yes.
it's a great experience.
It's a great experience.
Can you imagine if you were running in circles and zigzagging in and out with all of these people? How exciting that would be and how much trust would be needed. Okay, how was the Australian? Did he talk? He cheated, did he?
Firstly, I'm nervous because I don't know what is happening. Secondly, I'm totally surrender on him. Yeah, totally surrender on him. Ki let's do what will actually my English is little bit. So I'm totally surrender on him and totally trust on him. Totally trust and let it go ahead. What's happened? Depends on them.
Who else have we got? Any more experiences to describe?
Yeah, it didn't. So yeah, like she said, I had to completely surrender to her, and we as humans are not. Not so easy with giving away control. We want everything in our control. So giving away, while I was going, I was completely not giving my control to her. I was also like being aware of, I'm watching every step. I was slow while I was going. When she was bringing me back, I was like, I'm done.
So you gave in to it.
Yeah, I gave into it.
And once you gave in, it became
yeah,
a positive experience.
Yes, exactly, yeah.
Yeah.
And it was nice to... Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, thank you.
Last one. Oh, wait, what's happened to... Here's my daughter. How was it? How would you describe it?
I feel like trustworthy him. He doesn't betray me in any way. Okay, but this was a very crucial way. That is the thing.
Okay.
Fun.
And the last one is Ayanda. How was it?
It was a very weird experience because I didn't know where I was in the auditorium. I didn't know where I was going or even where I was. Like I thought I was over there or there, but it made me have to trust her, and it was a very cool experience to have.
Okay, good. You followed the script I gave you. I'm kidding. Of course you didn't. Okay, thank you very much, trust givers.
Share one of the experience while I was
Yeah, go ahead.
While I was going this and
put it up there.
Okay, So when I was doing this practice, I realized that I want to be a vision to her. That's why I was seeing each and everyone's expression, and I was just explaining that to how they are looking at you and how they are enjoying the movement. So that's what I showed to her, and she also enjoyed, because people are curious while we are doing this activity, and people are putting the attention to what is happening. So that's what it makes different. And thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Okay, well, thank you very much. Thank you for coming forward. Thank you.
I feel like a puppet in his hand. So what I do is, I just given my body, what can you play with me? Okay, play with me. I will trust you, I'll just make a fun of you. That is the thing.
Okay, all right. Thanks very much, everyone. I do that for about 4 hours during pre-production, getting as many of the crew as I can, and trying to manipulate them into pairs that I think they need, to trust and to learn trust. And I've never had any resistance from, no matter how much the actor is paid, they're all willing to do it, because they pretty soon, after 4 steps, realize that they are learning to trust, which is what we all need to do. The next lesson that you need as a director, and again, I emphasize I'm talking as a director, not a writer, not an actor, not a producer, is that we are only as good as our scripts. And in preparing for this masterclass, I went back and looked at my films, and it's funny, I went back to one of the first films over and over, Newsfront. So I'm going to show you a scene which is totally dependent, well, I guess it's dependent on the acting a little bit. And Satyajit Ray taught us in Australia a lot, because you'll see in this clip, which shows a group who are making a newsreel, are making the news that will go out into cinemas. They're putting it together, and you'll see that I cast someone that had never acted as the commentator, but he had been a radio announcer, so I thought he would be great for the part, even though he'd never acted. But I'm showing you this scene to remind everyone to be kind to your writer, because you're totally dependent on that writer. I mean, on the last film that I did, Fast Charlie, the money fell through 5 days before shooting. Producers said, we're going home. I said, no, we're not. Wait, how much have you got? He told me, which was a ridiculous amount that we had for the first week. So the writer stayed with me. The writer wrote every night through the film. We only had enough money to get to each Friday. And every night I would tell him, okay, I've got 10 pages tomorrow, you need to cut it down to 5 or 6. I can't shoot that much. And every night he would come back with a new script that was the same information but shorter. In the end, we only had enough money to shoot an 84-minute film. So what did I do? I brought the writer in, and he invented the beginning of the film, which was to use the ending at the beginning to start the film off. So suddenly we had the 90 minutes that we promised to all the distributors around the world. Anyway, again, going back over 40 years, here's a scene from Newsfront, which is totally dependent on the scriptwriter. Let's have a look.
It's showing up in the form of war in Korea today. There are obvious pressure spots which may become active in the near future.
In America and all over the world, anti-communist feeling mounts. The enemy within, the communist menace, the Stalinist world conspiracy are phrases on the lips of all nations. In Australia, Prime Minister Menzies seeks to abolish the Communist Party. In the High Court, Opposition leader Evatt, successor to Mr. Chifley, calls any attempt to outlaw any political party a threat to democracy. And the Communist Party dissolution bill is declared unconstitutional and thrown out of court. Undaunted, the Prime Minister has recently called a referendum, asking for a constitutional amendment enabling the government to outlaw communism and imprison any person two cabinet ministers together declare to be communist. This, in Dr. Evatt's view, would give the ministers police state powers, powers comparable with those of... I thought I told you to take that out.
It's in, Ken. Can we back up to the head?
I'm not going to say it.
It's still in, Ken. AG reckons it's fair comment.
Is that so? Well, convey to AG my resignation, effective as of this moment.
Oh, come on.
And remind him he owes me £3. I warned you.
Look, it's not as though you've got to say something that isn't true.
And what's that got to do with the fact that I'm not going to say it?
It's got everything to do with the fact that it should be said.
Listen, mate, I depend on government bodies like the ABC for half my daily bread. And I'm not calling any government that pays me as well as these buggers do a police state. And I know what you're going to say because you're so bloody predictable.
Yeah, and what am I going to say?
Any government that won't let you say things against it is a police state government, am I right?
Yeah, that's right. That's what I was going to say. I was also going to say
I couldn't agree with you more. And when we're declared communist because of your tomfool narration, and we're blacklisted like those overpaid pansies in Hollywood, we can tell it all to our fellow inmates in jail, eh?
Look, it doesn't have to come to that.
Now,
people
convey
like
to AG my resignation and wish him a Merry Christmas. Anytime you care to take the sentence out, I'm contactable by telephone at the pub. I'm exercising my democratic right to go on strike, that's all.
I always knew you were a gutless wonder.
When you're...
Gutless wonders of the world unite.
Ah, shut up.
Okay. Jumping ahead. Michael Caine did a film with me called The Quiet American. Oh, actually, I've got two of these. I only need one. And Michael said to me every day how much he loved what I was doing, was waiting for the next idea. He totally empowered me. And he at the time had done 104 films. And he said to me that what I've discovered in all 104 films is if I empower the director as an actor, then the movie ends up being better, and so does my performance. This was towards the end of the movie when I asked him, why is he so cooperative? And he's right. The relationship between the actor and the director is a crucial one because they are us. The actors become our every man and every woman. So like the relationship with the writer, it's one to treasure and to work on every single day with trust and with communication. But let's have a look at a scene with Michael Caine. It's a low resolution copy, but I want you to look at the end of the scene, at his face, because you'll see a great actor at work. Just to tell you the story a little bit. Michael is a newspaper man working in Saigon in the early 50s, when the Vietnamese are fighting against the French for their independence, a battle that they would win and then go on to defeat America and her allies as well. Brendan Fraser is a CIA agent who's come to town, young and handsome, and he's met the lover of Michael Caine. Michael is in his late 60s, his character, but he has a 20-year-old Vietnamese lover. And in the scene that we're about to see, watch him at the end of the scene, his facial expressions, as he considers all the reasons why he would want his lover's lover to die. Stop. Oh, sorry. I didn't read my notes. Okay, we'll come back to that one. Now I'm going to tell you the secret of getting a film made and getting everyone on board. And that secret is to make it 3 or 4 times. I make every film, every television show. I try and make the trailer to the show, encompassing the show, well before we shoot. And this is so that the financiers, the distributor, the studio, the actors, and the crew all know what to expect. No surprises. And it's also for me to try out things, whether it's costume or character traits, story. So here, 6 weeks before shooting a TV pilot, is the trailer for the pilot that I was about to shoot. And I would advise you all, if you're trying to mount a film, make the trailer first. You'll use it as a selling tool. But if you get the money, then for God's sake, try and make the film many times. Because each time you make the film, even in shorthand, you'll learn something about the movie. And you'll try it out on audiences. You'll get a response as opposed to just looking at a script. Here's the trailer for a pilot that didn't get picked up. It starred Academy Award winner Melissa Leo, and we shot it about 2 years ago in New Orleans. Let's have a look.
I never became interested in genealogy any more than I became female or became, a human being or interested in, 3 meals a day or whatever. It's part of my nature. Growing up in New Orleans, it's one of the most historical cities. It's one of the most interesting cities in the United States. It's one of the most traditional cities in the United States. So growing up in that environment, you can't help but absorb history in general.
I grew up in very rich environment. The schools I went to, the food I ate, the religion, the churches I went to, how we buried our dead, all folded into that rich history.
My sister, she's off the charts smart. That comes with, well, complications. News to me. Twice exception. She's got this incredible big brain. Sometimes it just gets in the way.
I'm living the dream. Raising 2 amazing girls with the man I have loved since I was 15. Work is good. I love teaching. But nothing is ever what it seems, is it? We're only just getting our footing again, and now here comes a woo. And don't get me wrong, I love my sister-in-law, but more what it might do to us. To John. I wait
wake up and every day I ask myself, who are you today? Obsessed with the perfect selfie shot, prepping for the PSAT, and living for the weekend? Or all in for fencing and a scholarship to get me out of here? The only person that gets me is my Aunt Liv.
Do I worry about Ashley? Of course I do. I'm not talking about blowing curfew. I'm talking about the way she thinks. I know that look she gets, because I've seen it my whole life. It's Liv. When I was about 7, my dad took me to a crime scene. First time I saw a dead body. I think he was trying to scare me. Didn't work. I saw something that needed to be fixed.
So yeah, my father was a police lieutenant, but you gotta remember I'm his daughter. I wasn't ever invited to play with the boys. So I made up my own games. Games that I always win. Even if it means putting my father's so-called legacy in jeopardy. And now that I'm back home, I'm hearing the voices, the lost, the searching, the unknown. I can't ignore them because my gift, it's finding answers. We were all born with a living history just under our skin, right there in our blood. Our DNA helps us define us, makes us who we are.
I've been in holy water, in holy water.
I wish I knew what defines me.
For you.
Yeah, after all that work, they didn't pick it up. But we made the 3 of those, 3 different ones. Perfecting it, changing it, getting comments from the studio, the actors, you know. I mean, in many ways, making a movie is about everything but shooting the movie. It is about pre-production, planning. I'm going to pass around some storyboards. From way back, from Clear and Present Danger, back in the 90s. I'll ask you to look at them, because we're going to come to some of the sequences, but pass it on, but give it back to me, because it's the last one that I've got. So whoever wants it, have a look. Yeah? Hello. But don't take pages out of it, please. And because that for me, that is the first stage of preparation. You saw the storyboards in that presentation for Blood Relative. You know, I don't storyboard dialogue scenes, but I storyboard the action scenes. And then usually I make an animatronic. That is, I make a cartoon-like version of the action. And the reason for that is because the action costs so much and because it's dangerous. And I want everyone to know where the camera is, where the actors are, and what we're asking them to do. And it also increases our efficiency. It also allows me not to shoot many of the scenes. I'm going to show you a scene from Salt later where I only shot a few shots. The second unit director, following my storyboards and then my animatronic, went out with a much smaller crew and shot most of the famous sequence that which is credited to me, not him. But nevertheless, I suppose we both shot it. Let's have a look at Michael Caine and watch for those final moments in that scene where he's given the opportunity to have his lover's lover killed. We're going to skip the next one, which is another scene from The Quiet American, because I realize it's such low resolution that it doesn't do justice to the cinematography. Let's go straight on to the scene that I was talking about from Salt, the scene which I storyboarded, made an animatronic of, including sound, but didn't actually shoot. I only shot the scenes with the male actors, the shots with the male actors. The rest of it was shot upstate New York by Simon Crane, an amazing second unit director, with his stunt team. So let's have a look at that sequence, because we're then going to discuss how you would make that scene today using today's technology, straight after watching it. Yeah, okay, so, great work there, yeah, by all of us. If we were shooting that today, we would take advantage of technology. Now, there's a lot of controversy about AI and technology, much fear. But for me, technology is fishes and loaves for a director, because it's the way in which we can do a sequence like that for a quarter of the price and a tenth of the danger to the crew and the cast. And I'm going to show you how to do that in a moment. You know, we also can create through AI and technology vast worlds that are way beyond our capacity. But let's have a look at what we call a volume stage working. I shot this last week at MGM in Hollywood. They were showing me what is a volume stage, which is the use of LED screens to project, to take the actors into other worlds. And we'll see they're shooting a chase sequence, and we'll see the results of that chase sequence after this first clip. So let's have a look. As I recorded it on my phone, so there's a lot of people talking in the background, but see if you can follow. You'll see a technician describing what they're doing on that stage.
This is a LED volume process stage, 360-degree captured footage from downtown LA on a 9-camera rig stitched together. So what that allows us to do is on the day this was actually a sequence that was a chase sequence. So we had a lot of moving elements, the vehicle that's being chased, the chase vehicles, and then drone cameras that are following it. To get all of these elements, all of them being reflective, all these elements to look good together, you can see that we also have a ceiling that's showing what the daylight, what the ceiling plane looks like. So we're getting color dynamics, we're getting shadow and highlight dynamics that are going on top of all of our vehicles and also our actors. You can see it on me as this happens. All of these things that we've in post through the years been separating into green screen, we're now bringing it all back together so that we can shoot it on the day. So the director has the ability to say, I like the way this looks, without having to look at a computer screen to say, on a green screen shoot, this is what it looks like with this element, this element, this element. We can see all the elements with the actual background, so the actors are acting and reacting to their environment. So everybody kind of is brought back to that spark of creativity and that collaboration between all the people on the crew.
And then we'll go straight on to the next sequence, which shows how to use this LED actually in shooting one particular sequence. How to use the volume stage. Yeah. We're running out of time, so that's why I'm talking fast Australian, not slow Australian. After I made my first movie, I hung out in Rome after I went to a film festival, and I found out that Federico Fellini ate spaghetti in a certain place. So I hung out where I was told he hung out, introduced myself to him, and found myself 2 days later out at Cinecittà watching him add the sound to one of his lesser movies called The Orchestra Rehearsal. And I learned so much from him. Because what he said was, well, I'll tell you what he showed me. Okay, so he was doing a scene where he was adding the dialogue. Because they were, at that time, shooting Italian films not with direct sound, but they would add it later. And he had a tall guy who was thin, with a high-pitched voice, was playing one of the characters. But Federico was not happy. So he said to his assistant, go to the canteen and bring back Giuseppe, and we'll give him a go. While they brought back a short guy with a deep voice, Federico rewrote entirely the scene that was about to be recorded, rewrote new lines, brought in the new character who was the end character that appeared in the movie, or the end voice, but got him to say a completely different set of lines. And he explained to me something which has been the basis of everything I've done since, which is that the image requires the brain, because an image has to be decoded. We see it, and then our brain has to work out what it means. But sound goes directly into the central nervous system. It's much more direct. So, and that explained to me why music is so dependent, why every sound that's in a scene is, you know, your scenes are so dependent on the sound quality. You can create a mood that changes the way the audience sees the film. We're going to have a look at a sequence where Peter Gabriel, the great composer of possibly the Passion of Christ track that he did for Scorsese, I think is the greatest piece of film composition. I approached Peter, and I had two films, The Quiet American and Rabbit Proof Fence, which is the one we're going to see, and I told him the story of each, and I said, you choose one. For one, we have a budget of $1 million for the music, and for the other, that's Rabbit Proof Fence, we've got nothing. I said, think about it, and call me. He called me the next day and said, I'll take the one that pays nothing. So I want you to watch this scene, which is quite harrowing, but also, even in this imperfect reproduction, listen to the work that Peter Gabriel did. He took 10 months over the score. He would send it to us on AOL dial-up every night, and we'd play it in a cinema and come back to him. It was a 10-month process. I think that's the next film, the next clip that's coming up. Let's have a look at Rabbit Proof Fence. And the lesson of that film, I'll just say briefly, is promotion, promotion, promotion. That's something I learned in Hollywood. What has Hollywood done? It commands, in its heyday, it commands the hearts and minds of the audience all over the world by convincing them that their version of reality is more pertinent to the audience than their own lives. That's what they're skilled at. The Romans needed a sword to control the bodies, but not the hearts and the minds. Hollywood in its heyday controlled hearts and minds through promotion. And this film, which was made for $6 million, is in fact, as a proportion of what the film cost and what the film made, the most successful film that I ever made. And we returned the money to the investors and then some. They're still spending it over at Screen Australia. Let's have a look at a scene from Rabbit Proof Fence. And listen to Peter's work. Quite imperfect reproduction of sound. So you couldn't really hear the relationship between Peter's drums and the other sounds that he added there, because it's a low resolution copy, and the sound system here is not necessarily tuned in for the vagaries of the material that I presented to them. I've got to jump ahead here, I guess, to the ending, and we might, if we've got time, we'll come back into the next one, which was to talk about how Satyajit Ray influenced the making of this film. But I'm going to jump to the end because this is the end. It's the beginning. It's here. It's 4K. This, what I photograph on this, can be shown in an IMAX theater and it'll look great. You can write, you can photograph, you can edit, and you can monetize with this. This is the studio. This is the financier. This is the director of the future. It really is. I said that those guys with beards who taught me to have a beard and call myself a film director, I said that they said anyone can do it. And it wasn't quite true, but it is absolutely true now. There is no excuse. No one can say, I can't get the money. You don't need any money. You only need the idea, and you only need, the daring to express that idea. And it's my kids' generation, the TikTok generation, who are the next generation, who are going to show us the future. And they're doing it already. Because they're used to using this and placing it in places that it was never placed if it was a big camera, of editing in ways that are totally invigorating. If you go to SF3, Smartphone Film Festival, you'll see 300 short films and 45 features entered in this smartphone competition in Australia. I've become fascinated with it, and I'm one of the ambassadors, and I'm fascinated because I just go there to learn what I could do if I was brave enough. SF3, Smartphone Film Festival, go and check it out. There's 300 films there to see, and 45 feature films on their website. But the film that won this year won the feature section, was made by a 60-year-old friend of mine who 7 months ago told me the story, and 4 months ago told me he couldn't make that film because he didn't have enough money, and 4 weeks ago sent me the finished film, which is magnificent. It's a whole feature film, and he couldn't pay an actor, so instead the whole film is shot as a POV. The central character, what the central character sees is what the camera sees. So it's totally experiential. Let's have a look. We're going to jump ahead to Circumcision, which is the second last clip. It's the one that starts in the ER, where the baby being born. There we go. Look at that. It's shot on
What's going on?
I'm fine. I don't feel anything.
It's going to be okay. It's going to be okay. There's nothing to feel right now.
I don't feel anything.
Here comes baby number one.
Oh, look at that! Look at that! He looks good, right?
Is he okay?
Oh, he's crying. He's crying. It's perfect. It's perfect. What's happening?
Stand in a corner.
What's happening here?
Where's my baby?
Where's the second one? Where's the twin?
Go stand in a corner.
Where's my baby? Where's my baby? Where's my baby? Where's my baby?
Dad? Where are the twins?
Guys, I have some news.
No. No, I don't want any news. Is Mom okay?
Yeah, she's fine.
And the twins?
We only have one baby boy.
What happened to the other twin?
The doctor couldn't find him.
They lost our brother?
No, of course not. He just wasn't there. Maybe he was there before a long time ago, but sometimes a twin just disappears, dissolves.
Dissolves?
It's just something that happens, I guess. The doctor kept seeing the same baby from different angles. He always said the babies looked identical.
He's a bad doctor.
No, he's not. He's the best. He delivered the both of you.
No. Twin was there, I know he was. And then he just went away. Daddy,
Yes.
I want to see my brother. Me too.
Yeah. How much time have we got left? How much? Who's keeping the time? 5 minutes? How many? 3 minutes, only 3 minutes. Okay. All right, we've got many other things that I wanted to show you, but, well, we'll come back next year. But we've got 3 minutes and I can answer a couple of questions that I'm sure you've got. Yes?
Hi, sir. My name is Rudraksh, and I'm a film student. I'm studying direction and cinematography. And the question I'm about to ask you is quite big, so you can feel free to say no. As you said, everybody needs a mentor in their life, and since you have 3 mentors, would you like to mentor me?
Sure.
No, as in...
But I got to talk to you.
Yeah. We can meet outside.
Yeah.
Yeah. Perfect.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, sir.
That's all?
Yeah. That's all.
Oh, that's an easy one. Who else? Anyone?
You talk about the success in Hollywood area. So what is my question is, when we are making any kind of film, any part of the world, what would be the most key ingredient for make that movie successful in that, whether it is a plot, script, or the direction, or the crew? Which one is the best one?
The script. The script.
Please.
You know, it all comes back to the holy book.
Okay.
The script.
Thank you.
You can't make a great film out of a bad script. You can make a bad film out of a good script, but it's a lot harder. So the script is number one and remains number one. Not the director, the writer. Unfortunately, I guess, but nevertheless, it's true.
So we can have time for just one last question, please. One last question.
Sir, a storyboard is necessary in every scene and a story?
Say again?
A storyboard is necessary in
No,
every
a storyboard
scene?
is not necessary. A storyboard is only necessary if you're doing dangerous action sequences like Angelina on top of a truck and so on. You know, it's only necessary when you're trying to be safe, and also when the resources are so big that you've got to, and you can only have them for a limited time. The storyboard allows you to really plan how to use, you know, those resources that you've got economically. Sorry? The storyboard,
storyboard.
It's making its way. It's making its way.
Sorry for interruption. So just from rabbit-proof fence to salt, you choose different kind of genre. How you choose a genre, theme of a story, film?
What?
How to choose a genre of a film? Because from your first film, rabbit-proof fence to salt, each has a different genre.
A different?
Genre. Theme.
Genre.
Yeah,
Genre.
yeah.
Okay, yes.
Yes.
Okay, how do I choose the different genre? Because I'm restless, and because that's what I live for. To surmount a new problem, not to keep making the same movie over and over again, if I can help it. That's why.
Where do you find the ideas?
How do I find the ideas? Rabbit-proof fence. It was 2:30 in the morning, the phone rang, and it was a lady in Australia who'd got the time difference between Australia and America wrong, and she told me that she had the perfect script for me. I tried to get rid of her, but she wouldn't say no, wouldn't take no for an answer. She kept pestering me. She pestered people I worked for. I told them to get rid of her, that she was crazy, but they didn't obey me. They made friends with her. She sent them the script, and they read the script, and then everyone in my office, all the women were telling me that I had to read it, and I said, no, I'm making a $100 million movie. Why would I want to make that movie? No one's going to see it anyway. And then finally, I read the script, and I realized that it was about stealing children, taking them away from their culture, and that actually it was a film about me, that I needed to rescue myself, to escape from the re-education center that I was in, called Hollywood, and go back home and make a film from my heart.
Thank you.
All right, sir, that was the absolute last question. I'm sorry.
Okay. Thank you.
For the limit of time, but what an absolutely delightful and interactive masterclass. Don't we all agree? Can we please have a big round of applause for Mr. Philip Noyes? Please remain seated. Please remain seated. Sir, could I please have you on stage? May I now request Shri Pruthul Kumar Sir, Managing Director, National Film Development Corporation, to please join us on stage to felicitate our celebrated speaker. Please, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you so much for joining us with the felicitation. Thank you, Mr. Philip. Thank you, lovely audience. We hope to see you for the next one. We know we've learned a lot from this session. Thank you and have a great evening.